Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. Well, hello there. This is the Operator Podcast. I'm Robert J. O'Neill. I am your host. I'm back in familiar settings. We had a few that we did up in a different studio. We've been moving studio to studio, and I'm always on the lookout for more. I am finding, thanks to your input or feedback, that it's better to have an interview in person than on Zoom, which I concur. So I try to find spots around the country, and it's actually kind of fun. I got to meet a lot of cool people and check out the way they run stuff. My last studio was up in Cape Cod, and it was awesome. Breezy Studios did a great job. I'm looking forward to getting back there. Couple places, just a couple other places. Don't worry about it. But I'm looking to hook up some places in New York City and then in Los Angeles as well, because it turns out there's a lot of people in both. But this one is going to be solo, so I figured we'd come again to familiar settings. I got my 2 kick-ass guitars behind me. Everyone that signed those guitars is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if you want someone to teach you how to play the guitar, it won't be me. Look up Tim Montana or Kyle Reif, and they can probably teach you, because I don't know how to do it. But they're cool, and I got some cool shit back here. But it's good to be back in this studio. I like it here, and I'm glad that we can talk to each other here on episode 106 of the Operator Podcast. We're going to try to have fun today. I'm going to do some historic stuff, what went down this day in history. A couple days ago was my anniversary to my beautiful wife, Jessica. And so we had a lot of fun there. We had people in town last weekend, right before our anniversary, also for baby Valor's baptism, which was awesome. She had a beautiful dress. We had fun with her. It's nice too. We had her baptized, and then she was welcomed into the church, and it was she kind of dug getting held up and people applauding her being the newest member of the church, which is very cool. And her dress is beautiful, and she got style. I think my wife, her mom might have picked that out, but we're gonna do more shit with that dress. Definitely. I don't care if I need to make a shirt out of it. That thing's getting worn, so that'll be cool. And it's been a great week. Unfortunately, August 26th, my anniversary, is also the anniversary of the complete bullshit botched withdrawal in Afghanistan. That the peak was at Abbey Gate, where we lost 13 American lives that we didn't need to, hundreds of Afghan lives, and then a lot of wounded Americans. So, unfortunately, we do need to talk about politics and how they basically ruin everything. Get politicians and lawyers involved, you'll probably lose. I want to be up-tempo on that, but that's a solemn anniversary for Afghanistan. It is my anniversary for getting married. And then a couple other historic events, which should be fun. And I hate to say it, but we do need to talk about this upcoming election and the Democratic National Convention, which was last week, Joy. And I did try to, Joy, sit through some of that. I was trying to, Joy, we're so happy. And Joy, I legit try to listen to another side. I'm a registered independent. I can't say that enough. And if you notice too, that a lot of, I think the fastest growing political party is independent. A lot of people are tired of the one party. That's why I did that. I did vote Republican for a while. I'm a registered independent, but I want to hear the other side. I legitimately want to hear. I especially now want to hear what Democrats are thinking, because a lot of Democrats, we saw with RFK Jr., he's supporting Trump, Tulsi Gabbard supporting Trump, because we're at a point now where this isn't Democrat versus Republican, because I don't like the two-party system anyway. But now that you got Democrats, historic Democrats, independents, guys like Donald Trump, they need to run as Republicans, because right now you need to, or else you won't get the funding, you won't get the exposure, and you will get the negative Nancys, the little backstabbers that will, if you go against their party, they'll ruin you. Both sides. You got to toe the party line. But independents are growing very, very quickly, and you need to. It's seriously, and I cannot overemphasize this. This is freedom versus communism. And I know that Democrats are big into saying, well, we're defending democracy. The fuck you are. Don't give me that shit. Anyway, I'm not going to get pissed right now. But I did try to watch it, and I do want to listen to what the opposite side thinks. That's how you learn, too. If God forbid I was ever in office, I wouldn't be surrounded simply by people that thought the way I thought. You need someone else to bring in a different point of view. That's how you learn. That's how you lead. That's how you follow. That's how you speak. That's how you listen. I mean, the only thing harder than listening to a difficult conversation is having a difficult conversation that you started. But that's very, very important. And a difficult conversation comes with telling the truth. And the truth is so far gone right now that God help us. But this ticket, Harris and Tampon Tim, is a communist ticket. You can vote your way into communism. I assure you, you will need to shoot your way out. And I'm not saying that to be political. Politics ruin everything. Political promises ruin everything. And I legit want to talk to Democrats to find out not only what they think, why they're going to still vote Democrat. I love to hear. I know you hate Donald Trump. I got it. Why though? I want to hear why. And if you say he's a dick, that ain't cool, because whatever. Which policies did you hate? And not fake ones, legit. And I want to hear if you're actually living better right now than you were 4.5 years ago. And I don't even want to talk about the jobs created because of the bullshit worldwide government-run lockdown. Don't give me that created job shit, especially when a report comes out last week and you're, 900,000 off? Bit of a typo, but what do you expect from a government that can't even audit itself? It'll come after you. But I legit want to have the conversation and hear why you think a certain way. And the reason that I'm voting for Donald Trump is simple. I want you to have a better life. I want you to succeed. And you're not going to under communism. But you need to take your head out of your ass and realize this is what's happening. We're at a point now, and we used to say, tongue-in-cheek, admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. That's what's happening right now. You see the far left, and I even hate to say Democrats now, because, like classic Democrats wouldn't be acting like this. These are communists, and they've been saying they were coming for a long, long time. But it's not going to make your life a better place, and government handouts never work. Neither does price gauging. If you can't read your teleprompter, price gouging simply doesn't work. There was a stupid idea about we're going to get. And first of all, when someone says we being the government are going to give you $25,000 to put towards a down payment on a, first of all, you have no idea what you're talking about. And Harrison Walls never run a business. Let's keep that in mind. 0 businesses. Never run a payroll. The employees that they have are appointed by the party. It's like I'm involved in public speaking, and my first speaking agency that I was a part of was in Washington, D.C. And I remember one of the bosses there saying that politicians are always amazed when they leave politics and come to the speaking agency, and nobody wants to hire them, and they'll be like, the congressman or whomever will say, well, people used to listen to me speak all the time. And generals will say that too. But they used to listen to me speak all the time. Yeah, they fucking had to. They were forced to listen. Nobody's going to pay to listen to your bullshit. But it's the same thing with the staffers on the Hill. Okay, they're in your office. You're not running a business. But we'll give you $25,000 to. I'm going to tell you why that doesn't work. And I do love working in simple numbers because I am pretty simple. Keep it simple. If I'm selling a home And I know the government is shitting out $25,000 worth of taxpayers' money to the buyer. I'm going to raise the price of my house by about $25,000. And that's screwing you over, the taxpayer. As the homeowner, I'm making it, sure. And that's a way to do it as a capitalist. But the government just giving money and seeing who qualifies for a 0% loan. We know what do you think happens if someone can't qualify for a loan and you just give them a lottery of a 0% loan? I'm sure they'll be on time with their mortgage they'll just bail, like has happened every single time they do that crap. And you even get to the point, too, where they're saying, well, human rights like healthcare and home ownership. Look, I have been to emergency rooms and hospitals, and we do have a baby, and I wish everyone had healthcare. If you are sick or you are hurt or a loved one is, I wish we could figure that out. And the trillionaires over at the big pharma that politicians are in bed with, maybe they could help. Not gonna. Profit, baby. But the home ownership is not a right. And I just heard recently on TV, some pundit, some talking head said, people deserve the right to get a house. Well, you know what? You do have the opportunity to get a house, just like everyone else. No one's keeping you from getting a house, but you're not guaranteed one. You are guaranteed the pursuit of happiness. And if happiness happens to be the end of your happiness trail at the end of the rainbow is a new house, I'm glad you got there. I hope you got there. Nobody owes you a fucking thing, and it's not my problem. Home ownership's not a right. No, it is no, it's not a right. Home ownership is not a right. But they're telling you it is. Why do you think they would keep spouting out free money and free shit to get your vote? What do you think? Why do you think she's flip-flopping Harris on everything? And she won't even flippity-floppity back. She'll release a statement. She hasn't talked to any goddamn reporters. We don't know their policy. Anyway, that's not this segment of the show. But unfortunately, we have to get into that. But it's just, I do want people, and I have gotten people in my comments, and I like it. The last one, I had Will Branham, Will the Thrill. I don't think we call him that. We should. Will and I were talking about iBegan, and I got all excited, and I was talking over him. And I actually felt like I was talking over him. And I'll watch TV sometimes. There's a couple dudes that I love to watch on a nightly basis. They just talk over their guests. And I know some of these guys personally and like them, but I find myself screaming at the screen, let the man talk. And then I see myself. I do watch my podcast. I'm like, yeah, I need to let the man talk. But I did get shouted at a little bit in the comments, and I appreciate that. That's why we're here. That's why it's called the Operator Podcast. I'm an operator. You're an operator. Or if you're sitting at home right now and you're not trying to work and you're playing a free Xbox, waiting on that free government house, not necessarily an operator. I'll still listen to you though. I want to hear why and how you got there and how you plan on getting out. But if you're an operator, which means you're helping someone else, helping your family, helping yourself to get better at something, free throws, baby, get into the range, shit like that. You're an operator. I want to hear it. So people did yell at me about stop talking over people, and I'm doing my best. Thank God now I can't because I'm by myself here. But some of the stuff I do want to talk today, we have to get into. I would love to sit here and tell good stories, fun stories in history the whole time, but we're at a point right now. I mean, we're on the precipice of kissing what we know goodbye. And it ain't if Trump gets elected, we're defending democracy. I had a friend I was talking to the other day, and I said something about the deep state. And he said, the deep state's fake. It was invented by Trump. No, it is not fake. It is very real. They're probably listening to me right now. Look what happened to that dude over in France for Telegram or whatever. Free speech, canceled and arrested. Why? Well, because he was... Well, they don't want to say he's spreading misinformation. That's their thing, too, if you tell the truth, by God. The quickest way to get canceled, we might be coming around the corner, but back in I got canceled a bunch of times for saying the truth. And it doesn't matter if it's the truth, because right now, people... Well, not everyone, but right now, we're expected to lie so we don't insult fucking imbeciles. The truth is not hard. The truth is very, very simple. You ever notice how easy it is to tell the truth? But when you start bullshitting, you get caught in a lie. You got to keep lying to defend that lie. That's probably what happened to Walls with his retired Sergeant Major bullshit. You had a Rotary Club function at a dinner, and all of a sudden you start spouting that, it's Command Sergeant Major. Man, maybe not, though, because he did have congressional coins that said retired Command Sergeant Major, which is not true. But a lot of guys, I guess, lie on their congressional challenge coin. Oh, sweet mercy. But yeah, we will talk about that. Since we're talking about the preparation, the elections, the battle for the West, because it's here. And just because you don't think you're in a war doesn't mean your enemy doesn't think just because you don't believe in your war doesn't mean they don't believe in it as well. Does that make any sense at all? You might not think you're at war, the enemy does. That's all that matters, right? They have the time. We have the clocks. They have the times. I have a feeling I'm just kind of screwing. You understand what I'm saying at least? Man, that sucks. But just for the survival of the West as we know it, it's very, very important. And I want to bring up my sponsor of this show, My Patriot Supply, because I am a proud American. I talk about being prepared, and being a proud American, being prepared. It means if anybody comes after me or my family, I will be ready, and that is why I rely on My Patriot Supply. Their Mega 3-month emergency food kit comes jam-packed with 33 varieties of filling and delicious food. Not only does that include creamery chicken-flavored rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti, and savory, cheesy broccoli soup, you will also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavorful chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans, plus 9 different fruits, vegetables, and snacks. All in all, this emergency food kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories per day to keep you well-fed and ready for anything. Got to feed the machine. The way I see it, it's my solemn duty as an American to protect my family without waiting on handouts. We just talked about that. Nobody is coming to get you. You got to prepare and protect yourself. That all starts with food you can depend on for up to 25 years. I mention My Patriot Supply all the time. I have them in my basement. I've sent them all over the country to my family. They last for 25 years. So here is the website to go to, prepwithrob.com right now. Save $300 on your Mega 3-month emergency food kit. Prepwithrob.com. You do that, you save $300. It ships fast. It ships free. Prepwithrob.com to save $300 on your kit. So go check out prepwithrob.com and be prepared with My Patriot Supply. But again, the reason I'm so serious about this is because it does affect me personally. I'm not trying to get selfish. It affects you as well. Everything from the inflation, how expensive it is to live, how expensive eggs are, the shortages of food that will come with price gouging, whatever they say they're going to want to stop. I mean, the way you do understand how that works, right? If it's, I think President Nixon tried it before, like in 1971, where you just stop prices at a certain level, but you got to figure the people producing the food are competing at different levels as well, and that's everything from raising the animals, the feed, the gas for the person delivering it, whatever the methods that they do. If those prices are stuck, but stuff goes up and it's not worth their time because they're not getting compensated, they're going to kill their animals. They're going to drown their chickens, and I wish that was more comical than it sounds. But if farmers stop with the food and with the produce, with the meat, you lose the demand. You lose the supply, but you still have a demand, and that turns into breadlines. That's a very basic way to describe communism right there, because the goddamn federal government getting involved with everything, the overreach. And that's a problem on both sides, too. The federal government keeps eating and eating and eating. So it does affect you, and it will affect you. And to hear bullshit at this convention about how when I get in day one and I'm going to fix this, freedom, people are acting as if, and the media is involved because they're part of the propaganda machine. They're acting like Harris isn't the incumbent. She's in the White House right now, 3.5 years. Fix it now. No, we don't need to wait till day one in January. Fix it now. What are the policies? But it will affect you. It does affect you. And you just got to look around. Don't believe me or your lying eyes. You've got to realize that everything from the price of stuff to interest rates, it blows, and it's because we're involving too much of the federal government, and then they're going to get there and just lie to you so they can get reelected. And that's what everyone's trying to do, is just get reelected. But the way it affects me personally, and you too, is the borders, the open borders. Because even though I screwed it up before trying to say what the enemy says is the Americans have the clocks, we have the time. And again, just because you're not at war with someone doesn't mean they're not at war with you. The open borders, they're coming. And for me personally, that's a big deal, because they have long memories and they're in the long war. And as long as especially Democrats are keeping the borders open, and I don't even mean with a physical wall. It's the policies bringing us here. It's our weakness with China. The allowance of TikTok and algorithms to tell people from every country where to go, because the one world government wants they want the United States and Israel to fall on an open border. They're having migrants do the dirty work, bringing chaos to the streets. The Great Reset, which is real. And it's unelected officials, the same with everything from NGOs to non-government organizations to not-for-profit, nonprofits, and policies that are made by three-letter agencies that shouldn't even be there. You've got people making laws and the mandates. Remember that word? Not laws, because they're not lawmakers. Lawmakers aren't doing shit about it. But it's going to affect me because I don't want terrorists crossing the border. It's going to affect you when they do attack us again, which they will. And I have my theories about how and what they're going to try to do, because I don't think it's going to be airplanes flying into buildings again. It's going to be something else, something different, something in a gun-free zone where probably I don't even want to speculate where, because I don't want to give them ideas, but the open border is bad for me, and I think the Democrats are really bad for the border, and so I want to change. I want the policy to change, and I don't want to get spun with race. It's a safety issue, and we're supposed to bring people into this country who want to assimilate to the country, get to know the Constitution, and you come here, you have a freedom of religion to practice your own religion, and you shouldn't force it on anyone, but that doesn't mean you come here and instill Sharia law. That doesn't mean you get to come here and pipe the call to prayer 5 times a day, which they're doing in certain places. They'll kick the 10 Commandments out of federal buildings, but you can hear the call to prayer. Either in for a penny, in for a pound. Which way are we going to do it? You should have the freedom to do anything, but the Constitution is what we follow. And they're not doing that because, what does it come down to again? Votes. Who will vote for us more? Let them in. And let the chaos ensue, and they see what's happening. So anyway, I don't like to see the propaganda bullshit. I don't like to see all the lies spewed, especially at the DNC, about what they're doing. Because they just kind of turned everything around there if you watched it. They flipped the script. I wonder how long it took Democrats to hang those American flags at the DNC, because they're all obviously doing it with only one hand because they're holding their nose with the other. Because haven't we heard that the American flag is racist? Haven't we heard the American flag is a sign of you saw it happening when they're kneeling for the flag. It's a sign of everything from the patriarchy to colonialization. But now they hung it. Did you hear those fake USA chants they were trying? Tell me that's not as planned and paid for as ever. I've never heard at a Democrat convention just USA chants sort of start. It's a couple guys being paid to start it. They didn't last very long because it doesn't mean much. But that's what I saw there, and it was basically a hate Donald Trump and say everything you can to demonize him, and they're trying to convince you that you should hate Donald Trump more than you like your savings. You should hate Donald Trump more than you like prices of food to be low. You should just hate him, and it was a hate. Why? And they're trying to say why they hate him. Well, because they're about freedom. And when you hear and again, I hate what these, and it's not even like these new progressive Democrats. You got people like Pelosi and Schumer who they're all about getting paid, man. They don't give a shit. I bet there are people in their districts that don't even know. This is for Pelosi. She's a congresswoman, but in New York, what Schumer even does for them. But just the way that it's turned so far to the left, that it's, again, like I said before, it's freedom versus communism. That's where we're right now. All they're doing is when they talk about freedom, and you'll hear them talk on TV. I heard a guy the other day about what are the freedoms. Well, we're fighting for freedom for the freedom for a woman to choose. Okay, not my call, but. Remember a time when abortion was supposed to be scarce and only when necessary? Now they have a goddamn truck pulled out in front where you can go in and get an abortion right now, or a vasectomy. What was that joke? I feel bad for the dude who went outside to the fruit truck and accidentally got his nuts clipped. It's kind of funny. But the freedom for women's health and the freedom to not get shot at schools. So abortion, gun control. That's what they're going after. They're calling it freedom. How about this as far as school shootings and just rampant abortion? How about better parenting? Like, what are you teaching these people? It's not the gun's fault. Seriously. You put a gun down, don't touch it. It doesn't go off. It certainly doesn't go on a school shooting. I've also heard rumors, too, that if you take out someone look this up, because I'm just probably on my sleeping pills in bed scrolling. Someone said as far as gun violence, if you take the top 5 major cities out of the equation, we're not the most dangerous place in the world. And I don't think we're a dangerous place. The most, again, there's way too many school shootings, and I think it's a horrible thing. But again, it's not the gun's fault. It's the goddamn person doing it. Look at the shooter in Pennsylvania, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. It wasn't the gun's fault. I mean, there was a lot of shit going on there. We've talked about that ad nauseum. I'm not going to bring it back up again. But when they just say the freedom to what? Abortion. You want to kill your kid, and you want your kid not to get killed. It's shitty parenting. You're not teaching kids the truth. And then they badmouth Trump they say he's a puppet of whatever. Remember the Russia collusion? Again, complete horseshit. It was the other way around. But they blamed it on him, and they're even saying now that that Donald Trump is a puppet to these foreign despots and dictators. A good leader will try to use all means of diplomacy that is at their disposal, and that would be meeting with dictators. That would mean meeting with Kim Jong-un, even though he's a lunatic, meeting with Vladimir Putin. If you can meet with Iran, if you can talk to them, but it keeps you out of a war, which Donald Trump did, it's a good thing, right? Well, I mean, not for the military-industrial complex in D.C. It's a horrible thing because they're not making money. Because it's all about getting paid for the people at the top. But there were no new wars. And Donald Trump was trying to get out of Afghanistan. We're going to get into that in a second. And part of that, unfortunately, was going to be to negotiate with the Taliban. And if you want me to pick apart from September 12th, 2001 up to the botched withdrawal, we can do that. We can go over things because I think that people do make mistakes everywhere. And a lot of mistakes were made leading up to that 20-year war and the war in Iraq and all that stuff too. But we didn't get in a lot of new wars. But getting out of Afghanistan, you are going to need to negotiate with the Taliban. They're going to run the show. But right now they're back there. We're sending them millions of dollars a week. Probably don't know that. Funding the Haqqani Network and Al-Qaeda and all the bad guys over there. They're not getting shit to the people left behind. We don't even know what's going on to the people we left behind in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that breaks my heart, too. I was talking to some veteran friends of mine, some Green Berets, and just the humanity effort. Can you imagine what it's like, too, like running an area of operation in Afghanistan and trying to get the hearts and minds and trying to build the schools and doing what you think is right for the people and telling them, hey, we're never going to leave you, so you got to stand up with us against the Taliban. And then we leave them. Not good. That was this administration. Oh, and Kamala Harris, by the way, was the last one in the room when they made that difficult decision. She was actually with Joe Biden, who was the president. Wait a minute. Who is the president right now? Did you know that? Still is. He's staying at a billionaire's mansion in California because they hate billionaires, but he's sure taking a vacation. They don't see a lot of him. Still the president. Supposed to be on Mount Rushmore, they said. I heard that too. That's the way they talk to you too. I hope you're not that dumb. That's the way Nancy Pelosi was saying that he should be on Mount Rushmore because they forced him out in a coup. By the way, it was, and you notice how they just kept pushing the. Well, he made the decision for the better part for the country and for he made the decision. That dude's been trying to get in that office forever. And you pushed him out because, well, I mean, why do you think they had the election? So not the election, the debate before the conventions, because the Democrats, the party, the Obamas, the Clintons, because they've been bullshitting. They and the media and the corporations have been bullshitting, saying, "Oh, he's as sharp as a knife." Was it actually a direct quote? We can't even keep up with him. But then they were starting to realize, the guy's lost his mind, so we got to get rid of him. There's never been a debate before the two conventions, before you get who your nominees are, but they did it there. But they sure pushed him aside. They used him when they needed him, and the corporate propaganda went with all that stuff until we saw him, and then they were easy to get rid of him. They don't care about him anymore. You remember that he's not only is he the president, right? Who's running the show right now? You should wonder that as an American. Someone's got to be, right? Just not Joe Biden. It's not Kamala Harris. She won't even talk to the press. This is also the first time that The nominee for the major political party doesn't talk to the press. Normally they're fawning over the press, right? Did I even use that word right? They're trying to get to the press, trying to talk, trying to get it face. No, avoidance. They're avoiding this. Why? They don't want you to know who they are. They did their convention. They did their propaganda. I mean, let's just briefly look at Kamala Harris. Avoidance. 4 years as a senator from California. No bills. No bills. None of her bills were even voted on in 4 years. 3.5 years to include now as the vice president. So she's been working in the White House. Nothing. They're even denying that they put her in charge of the border, which they did. That's 7.5 years as a Fed. Name one achievement. 7.5 years, nothing. It's like 2 months ago they were calling her a disaster. They wanted her off the ticket because Biden was running, and now just because of the way they can spin it and make her the greatest thing ever. I mean, and her speech too. I mean, they were quoting Ronald Reagan in her speech and putting out Reagan-esque policies, and all they're saying is, "Oh, that stuff we said, don't buy that stuff." You better. I hope you're not that dumb. But if a little bit more than half this country is that dumb, we're going to get what we deserve. The New York Times even had a report that Kamala Harris wants to raise taxes by $5 trillion to stick it to the rich, to hit the big corporations, hit the elites, raise their tax. What do you think they do when their taxes go? Do you think they just suck it up and pay it because of God and country? No, they pass it on to you. What do you think that'll do to the middle class? You think they're for the middle class? I mean, they tell you that, and some of you believe it. They're for the middle class. Did you see those? So they're at the United Center where the Chicago Bulls play, and the Bulls won 6 titles, a couple of them there. But the banners are up there. It's a nice arena, and they're going to stick it. They're going to stick it to the elites. In the United Center, by the way, there are these suites that you go into for basketball games, and they're awesome. Well, they were there for the DNC. The suites were open. You know what they went for? I think the lowest suite was $500,000. Sounds like a couple of public school teachers got together and knocked that out. You know, passed the hat around the third grade classroom and ponied up the coin so they can get one of them suites. No, it's full of the big donors and the elites that they're telling you they're going to stick it to. Just elect me. All you got to do is elect me and see. Any economist could see what would happen if they raise taxes by $5 trillion. And then other than, I think last week or the week before maybe, I talked about Gerald Ford who found his way to the presidency. Kamala Harris has never received one vote to be president. Biden was the nominee. There was a coup. They're going to put him, where are they going to fit him? On Mount Rushmore. They could put him like in the background sniffing someone, I guess. But yeah, not even in a primary. Kamala Harris never gotten one vote. And then he got Tim Walz. And just the way that they call him coach and whatever. Okay, he's assistant linebacker coach at a high school. Tommy Tuberville, he was bad-mouthing Tuberville like one coach to coach. It's like one was like Alabama, the other the head coach. And again, whatever. But and that dude, I've talked about him a lot too. And you don't need to bow down and say, well, you know, his service is honorable. I mean, okay, he was National Guard. Their job is to, when called up, defend Minnesota, which got destroyed during all the looting. And he didn't get called up. His unit went to Iraq. He ditched them. So you can call it what you want. He put his right hand up, so whatever. But he lied about his service. He even lied recently about that thing in Nebraska where the Chamber of Commerce gave him the whatever award, and then and they called and said, no, there's no such. He's lying. I mean, he's lying about something that's silly. He's been to China like over 30 times. What's going on there? China's not involved in American politics, are they? I don't think I've been back to Montana 30 times since I joined the Navy in 1996. I could be wrong, but that's just the people you're getting. And then the corporations that they're supposed to stick it to, even though they bought the suites and they're donating to the funds and all the stuff you see behind the scenes that actually happens. I mean, this is not defending democracy. You're falling for it. Why don't they mention that Joe Biden is the most popular president anymore in American history? 81 million. Why don't they mention that anymore? Could it be because that's not true? Could it be because they're lying to you? Because the corporations, the media are lying to you? They're feeding you the same bullshit and you're going to buy it? I mean, you got to take a step back and look. Stop. Get out of the echo chamber. The people in the suites are not the people that they're going to regulate. They're going to tell you so you stand with the middle class. You're going to get effed like you always do. I mean, okay, defending democracy. Why do you think RFK joined Trump? Because Dems were trying to get him. We're not trying. They were getting him off ballots as an independent. Getting someone off the ballot is not democracy. That's the opposite of democracy. Getting him off the ballots. They look at all the. Okay, and just be honest with yourself. Look at the bullshit that. Trump was convicted of, 34 felonies? And look at all the bullshit that's coming. You think that's real? No, it's propaganda. It's communism propaganda. Jail my enemy, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Nonsense. And a lot of people believe it because they hate Trump. They don't know why, they just do. Oh, I know why. Because the media told you should. They love Trump. Before shit, Oprah told Trump in a famous interview that he should one day run for president. She gave by the way, she's a great speaker. So is Michelle Obama, great speaker. And Republicans, the country should consider themselves lucky that Michelle didn't run because I think she'd win pretty big. And she gave a speech, Michelle did. And it was, I mean, whoever, she might have written it, I don't know. But just what it's filled with, she was saying she's one with the people and you can't fail falling forward. Not everyone gets that opportunity. Not everybody gets the big handout or whatever. She just gave one of her daughters an $11 million trust, though. There's 3 kick-ass houses, Martha's Vineyard, Hawaii, and D.C. mansions. And I think the Obamas are the only first family to not leave D.C., which tells you a little bit. You ever see the clip where Obama went back while the most famous president in the history of presidents was there, Joe Biden, wandering around like a kid looking for the gum he just dropped on the arcade floor, and Obama owns the room. It's almost like he was still running the show. Crazy. And then just with they're feeding you full of bullshit. I don't like talking about this. I got to tell you how important this election is for you. And I hope you can see. I hope you can see it. And it's not even like which channel do you watch? For the love of God, what? There's the constant over and over. They're trying to make Joy work. She's the president of Joy. It's like in Mean Girls. Stop trying to make Fetch work. Or I just watched that crappy movie Trap where they said crispy, and none of that shit works. And she's not joyful. Plus, Kamala, by the way, she didn't grow up in the mean streets of Oakland. She grew up in Berkeley. She went to public school in Berkeley, California. I know she talks about I was that girl on the bus. Yeah, going to Berkeley. But I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors until you get to the ballot box. But if you see, and the other one you're going to hear too is they say Donald Trump is simply out for himself. If Donald Trump was out for himself, there's no fucking way in hell he'd be in politics. You ever been to Mar-a-Lago? It's nice. You ever been to Trump Towers? It's nice. I've been to both. They're nice. You could live a brilliant life as a billionaire. I don't know what that's like. I'm assuming it's nice. I mean, money can't buy happiness or whatever, but you can rent it. But it's the smoke and mirrors of politics, and it's been like that for a long, long time. I just hope you don't buy into the BS too that they're feeding you. We mentioned Joe Biden. I mean, it's never been seen that he's still the president for a few months. No one knows where he is. He's bouncing around from billionaire's house to billionaire's house. He goes to you know what's crazy too? Just talk about one-sided media coverage, because the media originally was supposed to keep the government in check because they will help keep the public informed on what the politicians are doing, but along the way, they've become in cahoots, and you're not going to get a lot of honesty out of them at all. You're going to get what they want and how they get paid, and plus, being in the media is certain power, too, because being on television gives you a certain amount of fame. A lot of people don't want to give that up. There's no way in hell a lot of these reporters on some of these major networks believe some of the bullshit they're saying. I know a lot of them. I've rarely had a bad experience with a lot of them too, and most, I mean, even the most liberal news stations I've been to, like the producers have been great. On air's been fine. I have a couple of things here and there. NPR can eat a big fat penis, But but they're government funded. They're taxpayer funded. That's probably why they suck. But everyone else has been pretty good. But nobody holds them accountable. Like talking about Joe Biden, 81 million votes. They wouldn't shut up about free and fair elections. They don't mention that a lot. They are talking about the peaceful transfer of power. I mean, don't believe the polls. Trump is destroying right now. But they're going to tell you it's pretty close. Just because they know that Americans like to vote for who they think is going to win. So if you want to vote for the winner, also there's. But I mean, if they're saying they're worried about the peaceful transfer of power, they might have something else up their sleeves. I'm looking right at you, 2020. But I mean, if there was a responsible media, you see pictures of Biden on the beach all the time. No one mentions he's got like a 7,000 square foot house on the beach. It's pretty expensive. He's only been making like 100. I don't know what his average salary was for the past 50 years, but a government salary 130-ish, 130,000. You're not buying a house like that. How'd he get that? Huh. It's almost like there was some, almost. But yeah, it's just try. I mean, just try to pay attention to stuff that's going on because it is frustrating as hell. We mentioned Afghanistan. The anniversary a couple days ago, the 26th, was when we lost at Abbey Gate, 11 Marines, 1 sailor, 1 soldier in an event that I think was completely avoidable. Basically that was the worst possible way that we could have drawn down, the worst possible way we could have left Afghanistan. We should have kept Bagram Airfield. If you want a segment on that, I can even bring some other guests in to talk about it. But the way that I've described it before is if we took the tactical minds who designed the raid to kill Osama bin Laden and asked them, come up with the worst possible way to get out of Afghanistan, we would have done exactly what this administration did. The one, Kamala Harris said she was the last person in the room. She's proud of it. They have yet to call a single family that lost loved ones that day in a completely avoidable attack. I don't think anyone that was in power has been held accountable for not giving the order to shoot and just saying, well, we don't know why we didn't get the order from different, that's a problem right there. It's a failure of the chain of command. Failure of delegation of authority because the snipers on the ground who were smarter probably than the officers leading them should have taken those shots. But then there was a huge parade the Taliban held at Bagram with our stuff. They got people flying the helos too. Did you notice that? Huh. I mean, I've dealt with Afghans before, and seeing Afghans, the locals look at helicopters. Basically, they're looking at a helicopter trying to figure out a way to eat it or fuck it. So they hired people, I'm assuming, to come in and fly those helicopters, which means you have to get the mechanics involved too. Where they get the money from us because we're still sending them humanitarian aid, which never gets to the people needing the aid because they're too busy getting decapitated by the Taliban. But we left there, and God knows what's happening. But recently, I do want to read you this because while the DNC was wrapping up its feminist coronation of Kamala Harris, at the parade, the Taliban basically banned women from everything, especially speaking in public. Or you can't look a man in the eye either if you're a woman. So and feminists will be nowhere to be found on this, I'm sure. But this is in quotes here. Where did I get this? I got this off of jihadwatch.org. They have a quote here that says, Taliban leaders in Afghanistan have ordered fresh limitations on women, forbidding them from singing, reciting poetry, or speaking aloud in public, and mandating them to keep their faces and bodies covered at all times. Women also are not allowed to look at men they are not related to by blood or marriage, and vice versa. Another article prohibits playing music in public transport, the travel of female passengers unless accompanied by a male guardian, and the mingling of unrelated men and women. So you kind of see that the feminism probably means a different thing in Afghanistan, but we don't care right here. As long as you can get an abortion anytime you want, that's real feminism. But that's what's going on there, and that's Afghanistan. It was the anniversary of a horrible event. I think a lot of people who were involved more closely have broken it down. If you want to hear my thoughts again, we can do that another time. But yeah, that was 3 years ago, which is insane. I want to close on with this day in history, just to be a little more, we're not alone with the crazy politics. I think we're just more in touch with each other because of the ways that we can communicate. But this is today's the anniversary of today and tomorrow, the 28th, 29th, in 1957. Strom Thurmond was then a Democrat from South Carolina. He started the longest filibuster ever. And a filibuster is when you stand on the floor and you just start doing anything, talking to try to delay a vote, or people get bored and not vote. And people have gotten up there and read the phone book. You got to be on the floor. And what Strom Thurmond was trying to do was tried to prevent the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1957. So he's not a good guy. But he's got the D next to his name, so just check. I think eventually he did go over to a Republican, which proves both points. Because the Democrats, the Republicans, first Republican president was Lincoln, and he ended slavery, and then the Democrats started the KKK, and this is Strom Thurmond. You know what, too? Since the Democrats lost, the South lost the Civil War, if there is reparations for slavery, I think only registered Democrats should pay it, because lots of people died. Anyway, a history of that. Strom Thurmond, a Democrat, when he tried to prevent the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Then he did turn Republican. But he stood there just to prevent it. And that's just, let's be honest. Can we all come together and realize that's just a dickhead move? The Civil Rights Act, and he stood up there reading whatever. And I guess the way he got ready for this was he went to a sauna and didn't drink a lot of water so he could sweat everything out, so he wouldn't have to pee when he's there, because you need to remain on the Senate floor. And I guess his plan was he would keep, if he had to pee really bad, because he went on for over 24 hours, he was going to walk off the floor to one of the chambers and keep one foot on the Senate floor and pee into a bucket, being held by a non-politician, usually a staffer, holding a bucket of pee. Anyway, he did that, and it passed 2 hours later, a couple days later, and it was signed by President Eisenhower, which is great. But you can just see what did he have to gain by that? Just he's an asshole, and he's going to push it on you, which is very, very common. Also, this day in history is when Martin Luther King Jr. gave his "I Have a Dream" speech in D.C. I'm not going to read that because I would not do it justice. One of the finest speeches ever given. An amazing moment, and that was on August 28th. So a couple cool things, great days in history. And just going back to what I was talking about, we eventually get into politics, even when I talk to guests, just because, and it is an election season, but I realistically, just what's going to help you out? If you hate Trump, you hate Trump. Okay, but what are his policies? I personally don't even want a nice guy to be our president. I do know Donald Trump, and I think he's really funny, and I like him. But just think about even get selfish with this. How does this affect me and my family? How does it affect my community? How does this affect everything that we try to do day to day? Because I think we all simply want to raise our family the right way, have a good life, and enjoy our neighbors. And it's not that hard. I tell you what, I enjoy my neighbors outside a lot more than I enjoy my friends online. It's again the face-to-face thing, and maybe people aren't that bad. Are not as bad as we think, but just what's going to make it better? What little policies? Which side is pushing what that really affects you? And then vote accordingly. And again, if more of us are too dumb to see what's happening, then we get what we deserve, and that's just that's how it is. But I think if you educate yourself the right way. And education is not sitting in a room and being told what to memorize and regurgitate. Education is getting outside, doing some research, talking to people, ideally traveling, man. I don't have a college degree. I've been to a lot of countries. I've met a lot of people. What's that saying? I've been around the world twice, talked to everybody once. So get out there, get yourself educated. And don't just vote because a celebrity tells you to. If you don't know, if you can't pick Ukraine out on a map, at least study that or something before you vote, because just rock the vote? Yeah, that's what got us here. Thanks a lot, MTV, for that and no music. But, and again, too, learn how to effectively communicate. Don't have that thin of skin. Try not to be a dick, and you're never out of the fight.